Holy smokers, folks, this ain't no dang jokers. Do we have a lot to get into in this video? I mean, a lot that I want to share and some perspectives out there. Everybody saw the market today, wondering what the heck happened. I'm going to show you exactly what happened in today and kind of give you some words of wisdom out there on a tough day like today and kind of explain some different things out there. So first off, I think what happened last night should have set me up for what was about to happen today, essentially. So I saw some lightning off way in the distance. Next thing you know, an hour later, the lightning, I mean, I've never seen that much lightning. It was just insane, this level of lightning. Then next thing you know, the storm happened, right? And my gosh, I went out there to see the devastation. There was cactuses down all over the place, out there today, like trees down, massive trees just, completely collapsed, just destroyed. And it reminded me a little bit of the stock market here today. I mean, we followed that same exact pattern and it looked like, it might not be much. And then, the Dow today dropped well over 500 points from where it had opened at. It opened great. Everything looked green. And as the trading day went on, it just got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And so I want to explain something here before we get into the kind of everything in detail of this video and why this happened and all those other sorts of things and looking at some stocks and stuff like that and some perspectives I want to give. This is one of the reasons why I actually like to stay up late and kind of wake up later. And the reason being is it's almost pointless to be up during the trading day most of the time if you're a long-term investor. And I remember after I left Quick Trip and, just took like almost a year and a half off, right? And I didn't do anything. I didn't work, didn't do anything, didn't have any businesses, didn't have a job or anything like that. Cause I'd made a lot of money in the stock market. I saved a lot of money and I just, lived on my own for like a year and a half and did that thing, right? I would watch the stock market religiously from basically the time it opened throughout the entire trading day, okay? And I can tell you that was definitely something that made me start trading more and more and more and started shifting me from like a long-term investor and thinking about companies and investing in companies for years out to starting to try to invest day by day. And the reason being is I would watch these sorts of moves and it would hurt, to see all your accounts green, you're making money like crazy. And then all of a sudden by the end of the trading day, it's like, I'm red. Are you serious? I should have just sold that stock when the market opened today. And then I could have bought back low, right? And if you see this stuff playing out, it starts to trick your brain to say, oh man, see, this seems so easy. I can just start trading this stuff, right? And so you start swing trading, you start doing some day trades here and there. And next thing you know, you're fully down a whole different path than you intended to set out. And so that's why, I like to look at where the market is like in the last hour of trading. If I got any moves to make, I'll make any moves. Or sometimes I'll put in, if I got any buy orders, I'll put those in the night before or something like that. Because if you're watching this stuff just play out, it can literally make you go crazy because you're like, oh my gosh, what the heck happened, right? Or you're watching the trading day and it could be the reverse situation where it's just devastating. And you're like, oh my gosh. And the next thing you know, you're panic selling stocks and stuff like that at really big prices. And I mean, the exact same thing played out in the NASDAQ here day, right? It opened great. It was looking like it was going to be a great green day. If you own any tech stocks out there, they were likely going beast mode. And by the end of the trading day, we were just down, just hundreds of points to shred throughout the trading day, right? Look at Tesla, my Esla, which is a stock that matters this week in a massive way, okay? If you didn't know, Tesla earnings are less than 48 hours from now. And good old Tesla, my Tesla, was a stock that at the peak here today was $751. It finished at $721. That's a $30 shave in the price there over the course of that trading day, right? And I mean, you own Tesla stock and you're watching the trading day and you're like, oh man, this is awesome. Tesla's doing so good. And then it just gets worse and worse and worse as the trading day goes along. And you're like, oh man, should have sold when it was 750. I could have bought back when it was 720, right? And it's just, it leads you down to that mentality if you're just, watching as the trading day transpires, right? I look at big tech, everything at one point, from what I remember at one point, everything was green on this watch list at some point here today, right? And a lot of these stocks were massively green. But by the end of it, it was kind of a mixed bag. About half of them were green, half of them were red. Google McDougal, this is why you don't get caught up into these stock split situations. A lot of people like to try to play these stock splits and, try to gamble around that. And it's not the play, man. When we've kind of seen that play out recently, and I think a lot of people got kind of tricked into the whole stock split thing when the market was in like a peak FOMO period, right? Of early 2021 and late 2020. There was a whole different time in the market, man. We're not in that sort of market. If you're talking about playing stock splits and some of those sorts of things, that's the thing that's really popular when the retail crowd's all in the market and everybody's going crazy and there's way too much money out there. we're in the exact opposite of that sort of market right now. So trying to play stock splits and these sorts of things is just silly. And for any of these board of directors that are still trying to do these stock splits, it's silly, okay? It doesn't make sense anymore at this point in time. And by the way, most of these brokerages now offer fractional investing. So you can buy a fraction of a share. And so the fact that any of these board of directors want to try to sell you, it's so we can make our stock cheaper so other people can buy it cheaper, BS, man. Most of these brokerages now are doing fractional trading, and by the next 12 months, I would say almost every single one of these companies, all these brokerages will allow you to fractional trade. It's just complete BS. They're just they think it's going to help their stock out because they saw what played out at the end of 2020 and the beginning of 2021, but it doesn't play out like that anymore. That stuff those days are long gone, okay? Now, the only thing that's going to dictate your stock, at least in the short term, is whatever the vibes are of the overall market right now, and nothing else really matters at the given time. Look at a stock not a stock, but ETF, right? TARK today, which is a 2x leverage of Cathie Wood's ETF, ARK Invest. I mean, that baby opened up. It was up over 7% toward the beginning of the trading day here today. It ended down 1.6%. That's over an 8% move there, right? And so that's something people look at and they're like, my gosh, people try to get 8% in a year. And so people look at this and they're like, man, if I just had bought TARK Friday, right? Last trading day, I could have sold within the first hour of trading or so, and then made 7%, then bought back in, down 1.6%. Boom, I got a great return there. It's just, it looks so much easier than it really is. That's all I'll say about that, okay? Now, if you're wondering why the stock market tanked as the trading day went on, okay, listen to the Goldman Sachs conference call inside the private stock group here today, okay? So the Goldman Sachs numbers came out before the market opened. But what started exactly when the market opened? The Goldman Sachs conference call. And within the first 10 minutes of that conference call, it was very clear that Goldman Sachs was very cautious on everything, okay? And if you listen to that conference call, and everybody that's in the private stock group, make sure you listen, to it, inside the private stock group there and to the one I reacted to. I'm telling you, it was extremely cautious. So that put a whole damper on the entire stock market. And as that conference call went on, the stock market dipped more and more and more. Goldman Sachs matters as much, if not more, than anything on Wall Street, okay? They are Wall Street. Goldman Sachs is Wall Street. They are New York City, okay? And so if Goldman Sachs is very, very cautious and sounds a little scared on their conference call, that's gonna put an overall vibe over the entire stock market, like a UFO up above you, right? Of just like, it's going to block out everything else. And there's just no way you can move up after a conference call like that, essentially. And so that's exactly what played out here today. And basically, as that conference call went on, the market just dropped more and more and more, and it just set up an overall very negative outlook on the entire stock market here today. And that's what happens, right? And that's, sentiment matters so much in the stock market, and especially in this sort of market we're in right now. Sentiment matters so much. Speaking about sentiment, home builder sentiment plunges in July as buyers pull back. Buyer sentiment dropped 12 points to 55 according to a monthly survey by the National Association of Home Builders. That marks the largest single month drop in the survey's 37-year history, with the exception of obviously April of 2020 when Rona, basically was out there and everybody thought the economy could be closed for years and years and years. Think about that for a moment. The second biggest monthly drop we've ever seen in that sentiment. So now this doesn't really come as a surprise to me, right? I've been talking about, I don't think real estate's going to be in a good year, and I've been talking about that for many, many months. And if you follow my channel, you know that, right? But with that being said, anybody that had any confusion about the state of real estate, I think it's becoming apparent that real estate's in some major trouble. And it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. And especially if the Fed keeps raising interest rates and the 10-year keeps spiking, like real estate's going to continue to be in a hard spot for, anywhere from 6 months to potentially 2 years. That's the thing with that. The stock market can react very, very quickly on the downside and upside, right? It can move, stock market moves like that, right? And it moves way before anything else moves. Real estate is slow as molasses. Slow as molasses, especially if you're comparing it to the stock market or the crypto market or anything like that. It's slow as molasses. So here we are in this environment where real estate's just going to continue to likely get worse and worse and worse. These sorts of things are just going to get worse and worse and worse, and it's not likely not turning around this year. Maybe it turns around in 2023. I think that's even maybe a little bit of a long shot. I think 2024 is more of a safer bet as far as all that goes, okay? Then you got this news here, okay? Russia orders its forces to intensify operations in all directions. No one really wants to see that, to be quite honest, right? Unless maybe you're, a Lockheed Martin or something like that, and maybe that's one of the stocks you own. But honestly, no one really wants to see that. They don't want to see intensifying operations in all directions. No one wants to see that headline. And this whole Russia situation, it almost reminds me a little bit of Roni Rona in the respect of it just won't go away. And every time you think, maybe things are getting a little better there, it just comes back, right? And by the way, China's still dealing with Roni Rona. They're still locking down cities over there. They closed Macau recently. That's still a whole thing that's going on, right? And it seems like in the States, we've already gotten past Roni Rona. It's still out there, right? And so with this Russia situation, everybody wants a conclusion. Everybody wants, some sort of agreement to happen here. We just haven't been able to get it. We haven't been able to get it, and, at some point it's going to happen, but it's not today. I can tell you that much. If anything, it looks like it's getting worse before it gets better. Now, I did a whole video, prepping you guys for kind of what everything is going on this week and all the earnings and all those sorts of things. So if you didn't get to check out that video, check out that. I released that yesterday. I'm sure a lot of you guys got to see it, but some of you might not have. You'll definitely want to check that out, okay? Now, there's a lot of talk right now in this market, right, about what's the right way to invest? What's the right way not to invest in all those sorts of things? And when you're in a crashing market, let's just call it that, there's a lot of opinions. And I gave everybody kind of a message in the private stock group, right, last night. And I want you guys to all just kind of think about this a little bit in terms of the way you want to invest, the way you want to live your life, right, financially. And it says, this is 1 a.m. I wrote this. So late night thoughts, I want to talk about average. I want to start this by saying, for anybody who wants to live an average, normal life financially, respect. There's nothing wrong with that. Each person is different. There's something beautiful about average. It's not too stressful, but it's also not easy. It's a happy medium. All the respect in the world. Now, for me, I made a decision in 2008, and I said, F that. That's not the life I want to live personally, financially. Every decision I made from there on was to not be average financially. I took my first job at Einstein Bagels, cleaning dishes and taking orders, worked my tail off to get a job that paid 75 cents an hour more at Walgreens. Then I worked several jobs at one time. I was never content. I kept pushing for more hours. When they were not doing promotions at Walgreens, I got a new job at Quick Trip. I outworked every mother effer and was soon working at one of the highest bonusing stores in all of AZ. Was I content? Hell no. I pushed to be moved to Charlotte, North Carolina so I could rise the ranks even quicker because Quick Trip was expanding out there and you could move up the ranks faster, essentially. When I started my real estate marketing company, I never started to be average. I was doing stuff no one else was really doing in Vegas at that time, using high-end drones, getting shots, and going about business totally different than anyone else was in the space at that time. People think this is chess and checkers. I laugh. We're not even playing the same game. I'm on something way more calculated than that. When I did YouTube, I was anything but average. At my Vegas house, I have not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 silver play buttons hanging on the wall. The only other finance YouTuber to have ever accomplished that is my neighbor, 0 others. When it comes to investing, I made a decision around 2010 that I did not want to be an average investor. I did not want to get an average return. I wanted to pick stocks that truly had the potential to change the game. My list of multi-baggers over the years include Cabela's, Trinity Industries, Cirrus Logic, Elf Beauty, Revolve, Tesla, Monster Beverage, which back then was called Hansen's Natural Beverage, and I'm probably forgetting 1 or 2. The profits I booked on Tesla alone could pay for a person's lifestyle for decades, if not forever. The best part is we haven't seen anything yet. I'm not even in my investing prime yet. I'm only 32. In investing years, that is extremely young. Almost no one ever heard of Warren Buffett until he was 50 plus. Think about that for a moment. I truly believe when it's all said and done, I will be one of the greatest stock pickers of all time. I believe the returns will be astronomical. I believe the list of multi-baggers will be less so long. You'll need an entire Wikipedia page for them all. People can laugh at me. They can say, dream on, dude. That will never happen, Jeremy. You'll never be one of the greats. I don't care whatsoever. I believe in myself, and the only human you ever need to believe in you is you. I can never expect others to understand me. They haven't lived the life I've lived. They haven't seen what I've seen. They haven't done what I've done. They don't work like I work. Believe in yourself and bet on yourself. Invest the way you want to invest. Work the way you want to work. Accomplish what you want to accomplish in this life. The rest is just talk at the water cooler. And that's kind of my overall messaging in this sort of market because a lot of people think they have to do things the way other people do them, right? You don't have to invest the way I did. That's one thing I've always been transparent. You don't have to invest the way I do. I share what I am investing in. I share the way I invest. I share the risks. I share all that, right? Every single stock I ever bought, I talk about, hey, this is, especially if it's a risky play, I'm like, this is taking a risk, right? And I've even come out many times in the past, even in good markets, and talked about how essentially in a crashing market, I was going to underperform the market. That comes 100% true, right? And in a stock market that's going up, I'm gonna destroy that market. When an S&P is doing what it's usually doing, and when the Nasdaq's doing what it's usually doing, which is going up, I'm gonna absolutely obliterate the markets. And that's just what I do, right? No one has to invest like me. Some people don't like that level of variance, right? They don't like to go down 50% on a stock. Like, it is what it is, right? And so for me, that's the way I invest, but that's not for everybody. At the same token, if you're not the type of person that just wants to buy index funds, don't buy index funds. Like, invest for yourself. Do what you want to do. Live the life. Because when it's all said and done, when this game's all said and done, the people behind you are the ones that are going to care, right? And you're going to be the one that cares. And you're going to look back at your life and either be happy or you're going to be disappointed. It's going to be one of the two. But what I see right now is a lot of people trying to force other people into, you gotta invest this certain kind of way, or you gotta lose money. Look at this. Look at all these stocks down. The Nasdaq's only down this much, but look at these person's stocks. These are down this much, right? And so, that's just kind of my message to you guys out there, because the rest is just, don't live your life based upon what others want you to live your life. Live based upon the way you want to live your life. As long as you can look at yourself in the mirror and you're happy and you're proud of what you've accomplished and the stocks you've invested in and the success you've had, and you can accept the failures you've had, that's all that matters in this game. The rest doesn't mean a damn thing, man. When I look at myself in the mirror every single day, I'm very, very proud of the successes I've had, and I've always learned from the failures I've had. Every single stock that didn't work out, I've learned from. Every single stock that worked out massively, I learned from those. And every single stock that's in the between, where it's like, it wasn't really a big success, but it wasn't a big failure either, I learned from those as well. And as long as you can look yourself in the mirror and you're proud of what you've accomplished, what you're putting together, that's all that matters in this game. And for some other people, they don't have anything to be proud of. They don't have anything to be, accomplished with, right? And so, to those folks, they almost want to vent in other ways because they can't look back at their life. They're not proud of what they've been able to accomplish. When you're in the lead, I don't give a what everybody else is doing. Like, they can do whatever they want. Live your own life. Like, if you want to invest this way, that way. A lot of people obviously like to focus on me because I like to live my life the way. I don't focus on them. I don't care what they're doing. I don't care what they're up to. Nor does anybody else care. And sometimes the only reason other people care about what they're doing is because they're talking about me. And so just think about that for a moment. Let that sink in for a moment, right? And so, these are some things I consider. And that's about that, guys. So, do what you want to do. Work the way you want to work. Live the life you want to live. And if you don't want to live an average life financially and you want to go for it, fucking go for it, man. There's nothing holding you back. Because when this game's all said and done, which it's going to be said and done, you just don't know when it's going to be said and done, you're either going to look back and you'll be like, man, I did some stuff. I accomplished a lot. Or you're going to look back and be like, dang, man, I really don't want to go after it, but I didn't really accomplish that. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. And you just got to ask yourself kind of, where do you want to be? So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, just kind of, a little 2 cents out there from kind of my perspective. If you're looking to join us in the private stock group, learn exactly how I invest, exactly the style of investing I do in depth and kind of everything I look for in stocks, things like that. And also join us in the private Discord chat with the 6 and 7 figure members. If you're looking to apply for that, check out the pinned comment down there and you can fill out an application. Much love as always and have a great day.